Alright guys, back again. So as you saw in that video, me and my buddy William over at 5 Star Auto Repair, we torched up the metal on the frame, and then I got the hammer and I hit the bushing, popped right out, no problem. But then I still have the front diff bushing, which is made out of foam in the insert here. So what I usually do is I drill this out, and then this whole bushing pops out, and there's like a little aluminum ring inside, and then I get a sawzall and I cut just a little tiny piece, and then the whole kind of like a washer or a sleeve just pops right out. And the same thing I'm going to be doing for the differential bushings on the ears. It's made out of foam, very, very delicate, falls apart like nothing. So I usually drill this out, then this pops out, and there's a ring, a sleeve inside here, and I just get the sawzall and cut for like maybe a second or two. Then the ring cuffs in, I just pop it out with my hand. And I'm going to be installing. After that, I'm going to degrease and clean this carrier very nicely, and then I'm going to give it a fresh coat of paint. And then I'm going to install the RefShift 80A subframe bushings, and then I'm going to install on the differential the 95A differential bushings, which are stiffer, harder urethane. So I'm going to go back to work and put the video on their time lapse. You guys can see the process. Alright guys, back again. As you saw in the time-lapse video, I installed the 95A diff bushings, the ears, and I installed also the one on the subframe carrier right there. What I like about this one is, because I have these on my personal car, RefShift, it looks like they updated the bushing. As you can see here, it has like a little extra ear coming out of here, so this bushing doesn't move anywhere, because this takes a lot of load. I have the older version, which does not have that, but when the differential sits in here, it sits flush, that bushing can't go anywhere. But I just noticed that when I was installing it. So these are all the old bushings, the foam bushings for the ears, and these are the subframe bushings for the carrier. As you saw in the time-lapse video, I had to torch these out. They were being very difficult to come out on the press since, you know, the subframe is not completely even. So I torched the metal, got the metal real hot so it can expand, and I hammered them out. I didn't damage anything on the subframe carrier, nothing warped. I was already planning on repainting the entire subframe carrier. You know, because while I'm down there, I might have it, you know, I might as well have it nice and pretty down there. So now I'm gonna make a time-lapse video of me installing the 80A bushings on the subframe carrier. Also, another thing I noticed, because I have the Power Flex on my M3, which I did like 5 years ago. I like how RevShift milled this little piece out of here, so this could sit right on this lip here where the welding is. It's pretty neat how they did that. So it can sit nice and flush versus every other bushing out there. It's just all the way around like that. Excuse my dirty hands, I've been working all day. So I'm gonna put the camera down and make a time-lapse video of putting these in, which is pretty easy. Alright guys, now that the bushings are all pushed in, I'm gonna install the differential and install it onto the subframe carrier and torque down all 3 bolts to factory spec. Alright guys, now you saw me put the subframe bushings on all the way around. Now my next step is to assemble the CV axles back into the diff, and then also run the bolts through here and here to hold the camber arm and also the spring perch carrier. So I'll put the phone down and make another time lapse. What's up guys, back again at the subframe floor. I just finished prepping the area by cleaning any grease or any dirt before I begin to start sanding down the surface. So as you can see here, the passenger side has no cracks whatsoever. Usually there's a crack right around here, and these spot welds right there, any of these right here usually crack, as well as back here. This is all the BMW wax coating they put under the undercarriage of the car. I'm gonna finish cleaning all this up on this side here because the plate comes up to like right around here, and this stud coming out of the body wraps around that as well, the subframe plates. And down to the driver's side, usually from what I've seen, and I've done many cars, they crack right around here and it continues. Sometimes they crack around here, continue, and they go into the spring perch area. So it's not cracked there at all yet. So this is good news for the customer of this car. So I'm gonna put the phone down. Actually, before I put it down, I have the plates here, all 4 of them. So I have to bend these to contour the body as best as possible, because I'm guessing this one goes here. Yeah, this one goes here. You can see it lines up with the hole there. So what I have to do is bend and pry and get a rubber mallet and bend it and contour as much as possible so you can have the most contact. And this is why I like the epoxy method when your floor is not broken, when subframe floor is not broken, because so much contact touches the surface. It makes it so much more better of a bond than traditional welding, which welding you just go around the subframe plates, and then you have all this inside here just sitting around, and that's where rust starts, because this is mid-grade steel. I don't know what kind of steel it is, but it will rust. So that's why I like that, because I just scuff this. I don't take it down to the bare metal. I just scuff it, and then I scuff this and clean it, and then put the panel epoxy. And then before I put the epoxy, you know, I put the bolt back inside here and start hammering away and bending this, taking it down, getting some vice grips, bending all this, contouring as best as possible so it has a real tight fit. So when I put the panel epoxy and then I put the bolt or the stud back in here again, everything dries tight and making the most contact. You see? Right there, when I'm done with it, it's gonna be nice and flush. All right, so I'll start on that. Alright guys, now that the metal plates have been shaped out to the car and I have filled behind the plates full of epoxy, it's oozing out. I put so much in there that it's oozing out of all those holes that the plates have, just to make sure it's completely filled inside there. There's no pockets of air. So this is the front driver's side, and then this is the front passenger side. So I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'm gonna spray the undercoating before I paint the undercarriage so it looks like the factory. So I was testing out a little bit of the blue color here, just like how the wheel wells are sprayed. As you can see, they're like misted with the matte blue color that this car is, which is Interlagos blue. So I forgot to mention, actually, I'm actually going to spray it with primer etch, or etch primer first, and then the undercoating, and then the paint. So this is pretty solid already. This thing dries really fast. So it doesn't look the prettiest right now, but when I'm done with it, you'll see the difference. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to head out for today. The subframe carrier and differential, rear control arm, bushings are all changed. Everything's cleaned and detailed and painted over. Anything that had any fading or any kind of rust, I removed it. Now I'm going to show you how the undercarriage looks now, the subframe floor area. So as you can see, when they painted these cars in the factory, the robots, you know, when they mist paint everything, they didn't get everything solid blue. They misted some over there. So I try to mimic some of it down here. As you can see, the spring perch area, I misted a little bit of there, and then misted around some there, around there. So I'm currently waiting for the plates that go on there, which make the subframe carrier sit balanced, I guess. Or since you added a thick piece of steel on all four corners, you have to put them here also, because this is where the other bracket that mounts to the subframe, it's like a giant washer bracket that bolts in. So he forgot to include in the package, so he's gonna overnight them. Reddish Motorsport, thank you for overnighting them, even though you forgot to include them in the package. But we all make mistakes, it's all fine. So I'm waiting on that. Then after I'm done with that, I install that one, then this gets to go back up. For now, waiting on this to dry, and then waiting on the two plates that should be coming tomorrow or the next day. So I'm done for today, and you'll see in my next video. Alright guys, So as you saw in the time lapse, the subframe is back on the car. It's all bolted down to factory spec, every single bolt. Drive shaft is installed again. The heat shield is back on. I didn't make a time lapse of the heat shield, but I did make the time lapse of the subframe being mounted. The rear camber arms were installed as well. I gave the undercarriage one more quick mini detail. Tomorrow I'm going to be putting on the big brake kit and bleeding the lines and installing the exhaust and the V-brace. And then I'm going to go take the car for a test drive once I'm done with everything. So I installed also the MRG titanium studs. See there, the old calipers are here. So tomorrow I'm going to remove the lines and bleed them and install. As you can see, I put the front ones here to test fit them, see how they fit. They clear on the OEM CSL wheels. So tomorrow I'll continue the video. I'm done for today.